Well, good morning as we are sitting here at LTV on this beautiful morning, Thursday morning, August 29th, year 2024, here at the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and, of course, the tradition of the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, which I have an urge lately to want to speak about him and about his legacy and the legacy of those who were influenced by him and followed him, therefore. Also, of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Francis Anne. There was a dedicated, devoted companion to him and a friend to LTV. And then, of course, a huge group of followers that still, to this day, are making it a business to enhance and fortify this concept called public access. And I was if I was to sit here and tell you that I was contemplating ahead of time in order to be able to introduce something to you, or discuss something to you, or share something with you, it will be unlikely that you will hear that from me. But today I was thinking to myself, um, I want to try and decipher that process of the renewable obviousness. And when I say renewable obviousness, um, I mean here, well, actually, you see, I'm kind of giving myself certain thoughts here that I have to stop. Um, uh, uh, yes, definitely renewable. Great word. Um, yeah, yes, obviousness. Obviousness. Okay, renewable obviousness. And ask me about it. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, straightforward. Let's see. Uh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. Uh, of course. Okay, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. And so, okay, that's better. And just straightforward. Um, anyway, operating on a certain edge, especially because you're thinking that the real power resides behind the ongoingness of a routine, um, uh, the ability to separate yourself your from your character. That there is another self that's fairly neutral, that can accept and adapt and try and test and examine and look closely and be patient. Um, I remember the first time I encountered that moment where I'm standing in front of a great creation of Jackson Pollock in one of the museums. Um, though there was a barrier that you couldn't get closer than whatever 3 feet, or which is understandable. And so first I'm thinking to myself, my God, I mean, this piece of art, canvas on the wall, uh, can buy me, or can buy um, 300 to 700 houses. So it's like a mind-boggling comparison. I no, not. I mean, of course, if I look at the work of the greats, I don't measure it against its value. I mean, it's too obvious how valuable it is. But when I was standing there, I said, this person in the Springs of New York made it his business, despite his weakness and his difficulties dealing with alcohol and whatnot. He really tried, and with the limited amount of time of really good, constructive, breaking through kind of period of painting, he still nevertheless managed to leave his mark. But to leave the mark that is so openly was marked, and but the same token, no one could go around the fact that with this and the right person and the right talent, wonder can be performed, and he made it possible to be realized. So immediately I realized there's no way in hell that you can get people to just stand of a Jackson Pollock, or for that sake, any kind of alternative abstract expressionism, attempt by any talented artists. Um, um, and because I stayed there longer than I was used to, I mean, yeah, I can pay attention, but sometimes I know what my limits are, and sometimes even ahead of time I form an opinion. And as I approach, I'm already biased because I already come with an established opinion, even though the opinion is mine. And but because I allowed myself an extension of that time spending in front of painting, in inevitably finding myself examining it from distances that I wasn't so accustomed to. It was always from afar, always through an image, and I really realized that above the surface there's an ongoing second composition of the portrayal of what he had to go through, or where was he emotionally and spiritually, and 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 the um, struggle, the breakthroughs, the elevated gratitude, and lots of moments, even though short, but lots of moments of joy. Uh, as there was lots of moments of challenges that you couldn't even begin to fathom or to realize. And so you want to be able, the one, to realize that maybe with a little slight bit of a change and approach, you can really find yourself so ahead of yourself, so further into the unraveling of that complexity. That's a big thing when you're actually realizing that your own route. Forget about arriving. And you're talking about things that are so good and rewarding that it's like literally dangerous. It can really kind of give you a very pleasant heart attack. And I'm not exaggerating. Uh, and then because of the fact that you're an artist, probably you learned already as a skill of survival is to be able to hold your breath, and you don't have to be underwater in order to do that, or in order to use it as a tool. So in that turbulent whatever given of a test, of a trial, of an encounter, you also have an instinctive technique to um, weather this storm, and in this case by holding your breath. But it's not really holding your breath as if your life was, you know, depending on it or so. It was just holding your breath because that brief moment, it can be just lasting a few moments, and uh, but the extent of the valuable increase of awareness and the the valuable shortening of the time of the, whatever dwelling or going through the pain. I mean, you can go through the pain, but it doesn't mean you have to think about it and think about it and think about it all the time. Instead of really leaving it to the times where you're like on the field, on the field of a certain game. Therefore, you'll find yourself playing that game. I mean, if I go to a baseball field, I wouldn't be expecting to play basketball. I wouldn't look for the basket, obviously. So um, that goodness, I think, is something that needs to be looked at, because I'm intrigued by the fact that you can have such a meaningful return just because you instigated something or triggered something. That means nothing major really happened for this, in this case, goodness to be justified. Where is it coming from? I spent an hour in front of a painting of Jackson Pollock, one of the big ones, like 7 by 12, feet, 84 by 144. And I was I don't know if I should be like politically correct and say pleasantly intrigued by the fact that this guy in such a short time, I mean, he's telling you his story. His story is being told all over the world as an artist, a certain artist, and his impact is marks is the stamp, is dent, real meaningful dent in the world of a new generation that begins to think about um, the options, you know, and then earlier we not that we didn't think we can introduce an argument, or that you feel like you want to second guess someone. It wasn't the society wasn't really compatible with this kind of advanced uh, tolerance and regard and consideration towards the other, and the, the fine details of those values and traits, and everything is handled responsibly and gently, as expected. And then there's the least amount of wait a second, where am I? Let me turn around and go back to this. There was, and then I can evaluate what, and and while you're supposed to be able to operate from where you are without traveling anywhere, because the fact that you're at this particular, on this place and point of time, a point in time, it really actually says it's already giving you the credit, and therefore the right to be there, to be in this stage. You will not find yourself in a stage where you don't deserve or you don't know how to operate. It's just because you'll be crushed. And it's the nature of efficiency as a tool, if you were to, or as an app. It will run you over because it will run you over because it is aware of all the things that you cannot even imagine, and you're not really aware as much, if at all. So it's a tough reality to go through when it's okay to feel that you don't know as much as you should, but when you find out that actually you know so little, you know, that's why I love being an artist, because I learned already that whatever it is that I express, if I manage to describe to you what's happening, then there's no way out for you any longer. You would have to kind of succumb unless you want to inflict pain. by denouncing or resisting or ignoring something really important. You know, you look at people around and creative people, you see a painting or any other creation or someone playing music. If you feel in a certain way that you say, wait a second, this is awesome, then, you know, you should by all means go and say to that individual, you're awesome. You're making me feel awesome. You're strong. You're powerful. You're making me feel strong and powerful. It's simple mathematics. And then uh, soon enough, you would realize that actually you come from the same greatness that you admire, that you approach. I mean, my friend in Jerusalem, God bless his soul, was a violinist, a bass player, a pianist, an actor, a singer, a writer. I mean, you should see his drawings, the level of profoundness achieved by loose edges, yes, yet the most extreme tradition embedded in his in this actualization of these drawings. So you look at him and you say, "Friggin', hey, I love you. I love you. I love what you do. I love you. I respect your work. I respect you. This is, wait a second, you know." So you have that point of reference where also, not as you were to be expecting, you're actually not it's like it's a clean cut of an approach of an attitude that you have. You don't envy. It's okay to envy. We find yourself envious and being jealous, and we want you want that. I wouldn't blame myself if I would want the talent or the ability, even though we all have an ability, but I mean this ability of that level, understanding it. Any day of the week, I would love to. If you give it to me, please, and expedite the process of me needing to get somewhere anyway. So I need that also to cover and to somewhat conquer. And then when you get to your territory, where this territory is pre-established and pretty safe and pretty self-aware of its worth, of its value, of its experience, of its capability to contribute, to to lend, to extend, and make some information available that can really give a lot of people a break, because they mostly find themselves in the clusteredness of these attempts. Because they realize it's not only their attempts, it's the attempts of all the people that surround us, especially the immediate people. It's insanity. So you want to come on a Sunday late morning hours, metaphorically speaking, Sunday late morning hours. You want to drive to New York at 2 a.m. in the morning. You want to come back to the Hamptons at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you know what's good, if you know what's good for you, then you know better what it is that you need to do, or what it is that you don't, in order to gain 3 hour extra hours of freedom because you were a smart driver or someone who knows the facts and follow the implications of the facts. So you're finding yourself in your studio, and that studio spells work. It spells work. It spells painting. It spells canvases. It spells brushes. It spells objects that serve you in the process of creating art. It serves gallons of paint. Um, it spells all of the um, super unique looking, pleasant, and powerful set of configurations that put certain situations to become compatible with any visitor or anyone is in engagement to get to know better and better who you are as a person. And what leads also all of this all together would be the artist behind you, that you want to think, okay, that okay, you know what, if I work hard and if I show my paintings and people really at some point saying, listen, this is very good, I like to hear that. I like to hear that, and I treasure it. But it's uh, it's short lasting, it's not something that, even if you want to dwell, it can only take you that far. Quickly enough, you find yourself back in your own uh, open gated uh, um, cage. I wanted to say cell, but no, it's cage. But it's it has no doors, so no, you're not closed in. You just are in, you know, and you don't quite sure, even though you know you need to get out because it's not a good place to be. You still stay there because you say, wait a second, um, what the heck, a moment of carelessness, a a a, a taste of. I think that is this. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think that should be fine. Let me see. Yeah. So you open yourself up, and you're privileged enough to go at any given time to expose yourself immediately at any given time to the greatest of the greats, those who shaped history throughout the decades, the centuries, the millenniums, you know, and and you can really become acquainted quickly enough. The question is, uh, how can we find the justification for that constant need for it to be? That it's not just like when you do it, you accomplish certain things, and that's it. You go back to um, the usual kind of. It's just that this cannot bear it. It cannot bear uh, too much earthliness and earthiness. And your work is important for you and to you. And exhibiting and displaying and sharing is equally important to you too. And then if you're at a stage where you don't even think anymore about what is the value of art, because you already know, you established not only the level of conviction but also the details. So it's details oriented. You have knowledge and experience. You know how to work with, you know how to bring both together. You know how to, whatever result of it, both coming together to take it to the next level. And that means you have to take yourself to the next level. Tricky. I mean, you get to a point where only the equipment can be allowed to cross. You were left behind. So you want to just be stand the chance, that you want to know enough to know how to stand the chance. So again, it's all about the numbers and the letters. I will never look at certain numbers, imagine that I'm saying something other than what I know is there. And even if this level of decisiveness and conviction and surety, um, still I can accept the basicness of reality, the basicness of now, of what's ever happening as we speak. Because once I thought it takes away from the incredibleness, the incredibility of what it stands for. And now, of course, I don't think like that anymore because I'm in a different place with a different level of understanding. Now, all along, I realized I never stopped painting. All along, I don't let any mood or any sense of whatever it is that I'm going through emotionally that I need a break from painting for any reason in the world. Really, most at least, I mean, if you're buried, a bedridden or something, God forbid, But painting in the meanwhile, painting in the meantime that's where everything is. I can paint in the meantime what most people cannot paint, designing and planning their time scientifically. They won't be able to uh, deal with or confront a reality where we're not talking about chances of success, but just the straightforward effect and the value of uh, the power generation of each step and each formation that's taking place as time goes by. All of that is already telling you all the time. Yes, it is great. Yes, it is powerful. Yet it is, you know, unbelievable. Yes, it is effective. Yes, it is strong. Yes, it is, Um, so of course you know better. You know better than to turn and start looking and say, "What you say? Where am I? What's your name?" No, that's not happening. You know, you know, and you know enough to understand that only an appreciation can get you somewhere in this kind of new um, life that you're becoming acquainted with. It's your. I mean, it's mostly you. I mean, that's the real. That's where the real deal lies. That's where the real deal is operating. And you want to be there when there's action. I I stretched a 16-footer on the wall. A long time ago, I built a frame that is like 4 or 5 by like 50 inches by 100 and almost 200 inches long. So now and then I can just take a piece of canvas, like a 4 by 16, stretch it, staple it, and suddenly I see this thing is ready. And I know for a fact that it wasn't not ready before I put it on the wall for it to feel as if it's ready. It's ready. From the nature of what fabric is to itself, it's already been established by the the material itself. This understanding, it's ready because everything about it is all about readiness, susceptible. And I took a brush, and at first I said I'm gonna just because I feel creative instead of using rollers or whatever, I really use a 3-inch brush, and so it will take me an hour or more. But it was like I was kind of welcoming this feeling. So I started, and after 1 minute, I realized, okay, but I'm getting nowhere because it's torturous. I did like less than a foot, and it was like, you know, 10 to 15 minutes, and the results wasn't. So immediately, in order to make it possible and happen, I start working by utilizing a certain approach and technique that I acquired maybe 15 years ago when I realized that there's a whole world behind using paint, especially liquid, and manipulating it in order to find its own way to travel on its own behalf and understanding and structure and whatnot. Uh, but then I become an observer. You send the paint forth, and you know that it's going to go the direction that it's going to go because you see the slant. It's not, but you don't know about its behavior when it's traveling. Are they going to meet together or parallel lines or whatever? But let it travel on its own behalf. That was my motto. And the pressure applying attitude comes from that. So that means the water becomes stronger and weaker and weaker and stronger, resolved and gentle and touchy and harsh and hard and coarse. So you take your hand and you have a tool and you want to go do an application of whatever, pigment, primer, paint, whatever. So you dip the paint and you go to the surface, and of course, as soon as you touch it, wherever you touch it, there will be more kind of opaque than other spots. But we're not focusing on that. We focus only on what is the nature of the job of that's holding the brush, lightly, hardly pressing, da 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 da. So, but because the act itself of dipping paint back and forth is a world in its own, in itself. So now you're only thinking about how does the how much am I persisting and insisting to get more paint from the brush, even when I think it's already dry. So I could do that instantly, and also I can hold, keep a straight face through the exterior process. It's like the other self of mine, so to speak, that observes the two other selves of mine, me and myself, and him, which happens to be me too. And it's just a celebration um, of acquiring wittiness, paying the least amount possible to achieve that. It will be like the, the least amount of whatever that we're gonna have to pay in our lives to achieve something, some pretty incredible. So I see this 16 footer, and once I finished that process, I chose a color and I started doing highlighting, and the highlighting became something intimate, an intimate recollection in my mind, in the deposits of the subconscious, in the memory, whatever. And suddenly, it rises that which I am talking to you that I have encountered, and so that indicated such and such, this and that, and it's there, and it, um, it shows lots of kindness. It it shows lots of um, f- factors that suggest of humility and high knowledge of self-worth, quite resolved, yet very resolved, very sturdy. And in in this process, I adapted the inevitable results to be friendly as I greet all these returns that I'm getting and all these kind of payments and all these kind of gestures of approvals. I'm busy trying to make sense of how to receive and how to document and how to remove and put in place and replenish and whatnot. So that in itself is a source for exuberation that you wouldn't even believe it. That technical thing on my behalf, just being there to greet with a smile and being there to receive the envelopes, for lack of a better word, um, and the actual maintenance of the firm understanding of what it really takes to what it really takes to maintain this kind of act. Because the thing is this: I know a lot of people that know about this and actually go through it and do something with it and use it, but they it, but this is a reality that happens to them once or twice a year. This is not a common, usual occurrence, and I'm not so sure that they're not aware of the fact that they can be crushed under the weight and the complexity of something good, actually. But still, nevertheless, it's like an avalanche coming your way. Are you gonna contemplate to ask yourself, is it a good avalanche or a bad avalanche? Is it a friendly avalanche or an enemy avalanche? I mean, you don't do that. It's coming your way. Run. Uh, so you want to be able to know how to mark the territory. But it's not a territory, it's more like a sleeve, because that's kind of your main passage, you know, journey stretches through this kind of the line, kind of almost like something that tells everything. It's okay, we're all friends, no matter what. I'm declaring, I'm communicating from the center. And I was tracing shapes that became as a result on behalf of my attitude on how to apply paint onto this 16-footer canvas. And even though I knew what I was going to do, it was still a challenge because it's a lot of canvas and stresses. Sometimes you see 10, I did 6 feet and there's another 10, 11 feet, and looks like, wait a second, how am I going to survive the demands of the surface to be treated just like the foot before? So you utilize the same energy and the same attitude by way of technique that you know so well, and you just hold your breath and you go through that process, because now you're looking forward, because when you see the potential composition of the ability to highlight, you you know that the breakthroughs will be showing their faces fairly frequently and soon. And we gotta be ready for whatever ready means. If it's all I can even think that I can ever be ready, because I cannot understand what ready is or means. I still, nevertheless, don't want to be caught surprised. I just want to be, if it happens, say, okay, well, I kind of expected it. Now maybe you can give me. I will approach. Yeah, I will approach. Say, maybe you can give me a crash course about what's just about to happen, because it's not fair. I'm not aware of it, and I was like, I need. And you might be able to get your chance to get a crash course of what this whole thing that's going to unravel and is all about. What's the story behind it? What are the rules if it is a game? Because obviously, probably it wants to be a game at the end. So halfway through, someone will also teach you about the rules of this game. And you might, they might be surprised, because you might be a great player of any kind of game because you played so many games in your life. You also created, you're responsible for some creations of some games that you were your own original games. And you know what? Indeed, suddenly your immediate environment that is 10 times stronger than you uh, realizes that you're playing the game and they're playing the games with you and they're losing. That there's something natural about you that they have no knowledge of its existence. this kind of whatever. What is it there that you possess that is so foreign to me that I don't even understand how to begin to relate to it? But it spells strength, and it spells speed, and it spells accuracy, and it spells frequency, and it spells frequently. So, and then also, as while we at it, you know that there are going to be other editions that you just kind of by the way can utilize a thought that was fermenting in your head for a long time, or a scenario, and you find yourself it's in the meanwhile, while you're already in the meanwhile operating meanwhile, like half a dozen paintings of something very pastelish, to alleviate the potential confusion. So, and quickly enough you have them available. So as a by the way, created by the way, sitting so adamantly by the way against the wall, and it's yours, and it's ready to be shipped, to be displayed. And it's not the declaration of the world that this is the best artist in the world, come and see and worship. No, another artist with another honest attempt, with another sequence, and with another kind of level of determination and devotion and application and execution kind of thing. You want to kind of take it from one point to another. You want to aid it, even if it doesn't think it needs aid. You're there in different capacities, but you're there. There's no way. There's no way around that. Also wanted to mention that, by the way, we're sitting here on Thursday morning, August 29th, 2024, approaching Labor Day weekend, which happens to be in, like maybe 5 days or something. So we're going to miss you guys. The traffic and all this. I honestly say, I kind of got used to the reality of action in the world of the magical environment of the east end of Long Island. So it's all good when you're here, when you're not here, when there are many, when there are few. It's all good. That's why people want to come here, because they enjoy, because they can usually buy their peace of mind for a short while somewhere exotic and beautiful in East Hampton, or the likes of it. And we operate out of Wainscott here at LTV. This is like almost 5 decades, 4.5 decades, maybe 5. So speaking of that, is I think I'm gonna share some music with you. Oh yeah. What am I doing? Let me just. Okay, I need a moment's break here. Well, just bear with me. I'm on the phone. Yeah, well, the distractions of life. Let's see. Maybe I should complete the. So as I was saying, it's because the way I started this interaction is by telling you the reservation of you talk about something for years and years and years and years, all the aspects and forms of art, all the mediums, all the cross implementation, if you're lucky enough to be engaged in more than one creative medium, all of that for years. I mean, I've done this particular show for, like, I don't know, 25 years, and another 12 years as a producer here at LTV, doing just random things. But yeah, so, and then I realized that because I fathomed it and digested it through whatever particular, it started with music when I was 18. I did this kind of quick adaptation and I realized it works. And my understanding is of my new understanding of the new occurrences and experience, very healthy, very, very sharp. I get things quickly, and I advance fast. And so it was a no-brainer. I didn't have to worry about that it might go away or not be there any longer. It wasn't an option even. It was just a part of who I am, because the first encounter was so familiar, so easy to kind of blend and really unite, and that it leaves as a kind of impression that it just doesn't go away. It stays. It's yours. You own it. Wonderful feeling. So in addition to that, I was thinking, all the natural, while I wasn't even aware of, that took place, interactions that divided and multiplied and united and formed a whole solid one, departing and expanding and splattering all over the place, coming back home to form that cubic one that is absolutely agreeable. And that in between, back and forth, is actually a straight line, going left and right. Nobody knows the difference. Nothing, no significance at all. You go wherever you go straight lines. You turn around, you make circles. You're still going in a straight line. But the thing is that when it goes hand in hand in making you aware more and more what is the nature of the evolutionary process, personal growth, things that you thought that you shouldn't learn anything about, because just like the normal, natural thing that anyone can understand, no one needs a crash course when it comes to that. But you realize that you were wrong. You realize that you were wrong, pleasantly wrong, and that it requires sharpening your your tools and increasing your ability to focus and to see clearly and think clearly, and consistency, but not consistency in some crazy mood that you feel like you have to achieve. I can't tolerate the word, the word achiever. It's like, the friggin' heck achiever. Why? Just felt like the drama behind it. Because if you didn't achieve, he failed. She failed. They failed. They did not achieve their goal. No, there's no goal. There's no achieving. There's just like, and if you're a drummer, you understand that. Just imagine you're a drummer, and then you write poetry in the same kind of attitude and fashion. Then you are a painter, you create paintings, compositions, and you surf between all the movements that speaks all the way from surrealism, modernistic kind of cushion above it and on the side, and then abstract expression. I know abstract first of all, going sideways to make that base form, and then you're always in that expressionistic mood, It's like, so if it's modernistic, expressionistic, modernistic, impressionistic, surrealistically, abstractively, actually openly into the abstract and into the freestyle and free form. But all along, you realize that you're achieving an understanding and an ability to file and place properly and accordingly all your achievements, and that long time ago already you realized that you knew about it, you discovered it, you examine things and you say, I've been doing this for 2 3 years. This attitude that works for me so well, that helps me be the strong, uh, resolved, coherent artist that I think I am. And and sometimes I don't need to think. I just need to look at the library and see what I did or didn't do. And I cannot deny myself from recognition, personal recognition. The world doesn't have to give me recognition. If I give myself recognition and understanding of myself, it's only because the world is already in the process of doing it for the longest time already. So I feel safe without even seeing the proof. Okay, if you say that you're who you are, I take it at face value. I believe you. Okay, so what's next? How do we move forward? So even that you realize doesn't have room anywhere near you to say, okay, um, let's find out what the achievements were. Let's find out how much income we generated. Let's find out what is the net, what is the gross, and let's find out if it's worth it to remain in this business and to do what I'm doing. So the encounter with reality is something that actually uh, literally seeking a higher degree of intimacy, um, and and realizing more and more often than not now, that you need a break when you need a break. You need to be able to decide that you want to rest and to stop, even though you know you will never stop anyway. You're thinking about it, this and that, but you're going to be friendly and good to yourself. You're going to be considerate to yourself because you're friendly with everyone, and you're thoughtful and helpful with a lot of people. So now you're taking care of yourself, and that's okay. That's working well. And here with LTV, and when I find myself a part of this outfit, I mean, even though I don't like to hear myself say outfit, I feel complete. I really do. As cliche as it might sound, but the power is generated by the fact that you look back and there's 5 6,000 shows that I did. I mean, it's not a small number. That means 5 6,000 times that I appeared here, fully ready, mindful, and wanting and desiring, and all this, and coping, and you know. So okay, I cannot imagine that I'm a loser or something. And no matter what, I would never look at anyone and say he's or she's or they are losers. I would never do that because there's no room for that. We're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday and as much as we're here this morning, Thursday morning, August 29th, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, sending you love, wishing you a wonderful, wonderful uh, Labor Day weekend. Be well, be cautious, be safe, be friendly, be kind, be who we know that you are, and it's nothing but goodness and goodwill coming from you, and we feel it and we realize it, and we send you back that same level of appreciation and gratitude. Thank you so much to all of you. I really appreciate it.